Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Regulate housing in of certain areas of towns. A region marked off for administrative or other purposes. Regulate housing in of certain areas of towns. Any of the regions of the surface of the Earth loosely divided according to latitude or longitude. Separate or apportion into sections. Anatomy, any encircling or belt-like structure. A locally circumscribed place characterized by some distinctive features. An area or region distinguished from adjacent parts by a distinctive feature or characteristic. A region marked off for administrative or other purposes. Dominance or power through legal authority. France held undisputed dominion over vast areas of Africa. One of the self-governing nations in the British Commonwealth. A region marked off for administrative or other purposes. A region marked off for administrative or other purposes. The geographical area under the jurisdiction of a sovereign state. An area of knowledge or interest. His questions covered a lot of territory. Exercise authority over, as of nations. Who is governing the country now? Bring into conformity with rules or principles or usage. Impose regulations. Direct or strongly influence the behavior of. His belief in God governs his conduct. Require to be in a certain grammatical case, voice, or mood. Most transitive verbs govern the accusative case in German. Usually plural, the status or rank or office of a Christian clergyman in an ecclesiastical hierarchy. Assign a rank or rating to. A commercial document used to request someone to supply something in return for payment and providing specifications and quantities. IBM received an order for 100 computers. A group of person living under a religious rule. The Order of Saint Benedict. Give instructions to or direct somebody to do something with authority. She ordered him to do the shopping. Appoint to a clerical posts. Issue commands or orders for. A degree in a continuum of size or quantity. It was on the order of a mile. A condition of regular or proper arrangement. He put his desk in order. A body of rules followed by an assembly. A legally binding command or decision entered on the court record, as if issued by a court or judge. A friend in New Mexico said that the order caused no trouble out there. Arrange thoughts, ideas, temporal events. The act of putting things in a sequential arrangement. There were mistakes in the ordering of items on the list. A formal association of people with similar interests. Men from the fraternal order will staff the soup kitchen today. Logical or comprehensible arrangement of separate elements. We shall consider these questions in the inverse order of their presentation. Bring into conformity with rules or principles or usage. Impose regulations. Architecture. One of original three styles of Greek architecture distinguished by the type of column and entablature used or a style developed from the original three by the Romans. A request for something to be made, supplied, or served. I gave the waiter my order. Biology, taxonomic group containing one or more families. Bring order to or into. Established customary state, especially of society. Order ruled in the streets. Make a request for something. Order a work stoppage. Often plural, a command given by a superior, e.g., a military or law enforcement officer, that must be obeyed. The British ships dropped anchor and waited for orders from London. Place in a certain order. Order the photos chronologically. Make regular or more regular. Bring into conformity with rules or principles or usage. Impose regulations. Make regular or more regular. Regularize the heartbeat with a pacemaker. Bring into conformity with rules or principles or usage. Impose regulations. Restrain the emission of sound, fluid, etc. Shape or influence. Give direction to. Bring into conformity with rules or principles or usage. Impose regulations. We cannot regulate the way people dress. Fix or adjust the time, amount, degree, or rate of. Regulate the temperature. A part of an animal that has a special function or is supplied by a given artery or nerve. In the abdominal region. A knowledge domain that you are interested in or are communicating about. Here we enter the region of opinion. The extended spatial location of something. The farming regions of France. The approximate amount of something, usually used prepositionally as in the region of. It was going to take in the region of 2 or 3 months to finish the job. A large indefinite location on the surface of the Earth. Penguins inhabit the polar regions. The recipient of a mandate. A territory surrendered by Turkey or Germany after World War I and put under the tutelage of some other European power until they are able to stand by themselves. Required by rule. Attendance is mandatory. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. England marches with Scotland. The act of marching, walking with regular steps, especially in a procession of some kind. It was a long march. The month following February and preceding April. March in a procession. Walk ostentatiously. A degree granted for the successful completion of advanced study of architecture. District consisting of the area on either side of a border or boundary of a country or an area. The Welsh marches between England and Wales. Genre of music written for marching. Sousa wrote the best marches. March in protest. Take part in a demonstration. A procession of people walking together. The march went up Fifth Avenue. A steady advance. The march of science. Cause to march or go at a marching pace. They marched the mules into the desert. Force to march. The Japanese marched their prisoners through Manchuria. Walk fast, with regular or measured steps. Walk with a stride. He marched into the classroom and announced the exam. District consisting of the area on either side of a border or boundary of a country or an area. Processing a photosensitive material in order to make an image visible. The development and printing of his pictures took only 2 hours. The act of making some area of land or water more profitable or productive or useful. The development of Alaskan resources. A process in which something passes by degrees to a different stage, especially a more advanced or mature stage. The development of his ideas took many years. Biology. The process of an individual organism growing organically. A purely biological unfolding of events involved in an organism changing gradually from a simple to a more complex level. He proposed an indicator of osseous development in children. Act of improving by expanding or enlarging or refining. He congratulated them on their development of a plan to meet the emergency. A district that has been developed to serve some purpose. Such land is practical for small park developments. A recent event that has some relevance for the present situation. Recent developments in Iraq. A state in which things are improving, the result of developing, as in the early part of a game of chess. After he saw the latest development, he changed his mind and became a supporter. Music, the section of a composition or movement, especially in sonata form, where the major musical themes are developed and elaborated. District consisting of the area on either side of a border or boundary of a country or an area. The former British territories of Eastern Africa, including Kenya, Tanganyika, Uganda, and Zanzibar. An enclosed territory that is culturally distinct from the foreign territory that surrounds it. The former British territories of Western Africa, including Nigeria, Cameroon, Gambia, Togo, Sierra Leone, and the Gold Coast. A district where gold is mined. Law, the right and power to interpret and apply the law. Courts having jurisdiction in this district. In law, the territory within which power can be exercised. A district defined for administrative purposes. A territory in southwestern Germany formerly ruled by the Counts Palatine. A territory under the jurisdiction of a Count Palatine. A district defined for administrative purposes. A state or territory partly controlled by, but not a possession of, a stronger state but autonomous in internal affairs. Protectorates are established by treaty. A district of a town or city. The trait of resolutely controlling your own behavior. The act of having and controlling property. A mania restricted to one thing or idea. Anything owned or possessed. A territory that is controlled by a ruling state. Being controlled by passion or the supernatural. Sport, the act of controlling the ball, or puck. They took possession of the ball on their own goal line. A state or territory partly controlled by, but not a possession of, a stronger state but autonomous in internal affairs. Protectorates are established by treaty. A district where people live, occupied primarily by private residences. A district where people live, occupied primarily by private residences. A district defined for administrative purposes.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.